While you chase dollars with your hands, your mind is broadcasting a frequency that sends them running in the opposite direction. You do not see it. You cannot touch it. But every person who enters your presence feels it before you speak a single word. It is the invisible atmosphere you carry, the silent announcement of what you expect from life, the unspoken declaration of whether you are a magnet for opportunity or a repellent of prosperity. Most men live their entire lives broadcasting poverty while begging for wealth. They wonder why success passes them by. They blame circumstances, other people, bad luck, the economy, the times they live in. But the truth they refuse to face is this: they are radiating the exact frequency that keeps abundance away from them. You have heard men talk about luck. You have heard them say, some people are born under fortunate stars. You have watched them point to wealthy men and declare, he was in the right place at the right time. All of this is the language of men who have not yet discovered the law. The law states that what you hold in your mind with burning desire and unwavering faith must express itself in physical reality. Not sometimes, not occasionally, always. But most men hold nothing in their minds except vague wishes, scattered thoughts, and constant doubt. They project confusion into the world and wonder why confusion comes back to them. The aura is not mysticism. It is not superstition. It is the outward expression of your dominant thoughts. When Thomas Edison walked into a room, men felt something. When Andrew Carnegie conducted business, people sensed an energy that commanded respect before he uttered a word. These men were not born with special gifts denied to you. They trained their minds to dwell on definite purposes, and that definiteness radiated from them like heat from a furnace. You cannot hide what you think. Your thoughts leak out through your eyes, your posture, your voice, the decisions you make, the opportunities you attract or repel. If your mind is filled with doubt, people sense it. If your thoughts drift without purpose, opportunity passes you by because there is nothing definite for it to attach itself to. Right now, examine what you are broadcasting. Are you sending out the signal of a person who expects success, who knows with absolute certainty that prosperity is coming to them? Or are you radiating hesitation, fear of criticism, worry about what might go wrong, anxiety about bills, concern about what others think of you? The universe does not reward uncertainty. Nature does not respond to maybe. Either you are broadcasting confidence or you are broadcasting fear, and whichever signal you send is the reality you will attract. I knew a man in Chicago who could not understand why his business struggled year after year. He worked hard. He worked longer hours than his competitors. But poverty clung to him like a shadow. When I spoke with him, I asked him one question. What do you think about when you wake up each morning? He said, I think about my debts. I think about high debts. I think about how difficult it is to make sales. I think about my competitors taking my customers. I told him, you have just explained why you are poor. Before the sun rises, you have already instructed your mind to find evidence of failure, and your mind obeys. Every person you meet feels the energy of a man who expects to fail. They do not buy from defeated men. This man protested. He said his thoughts were realistic. He said he was simply being practical, facing facts, preparing for difficulties. I told him that poverty is a disease of the mind that begins with accepting limitation as reality. The fact that you have debts today does not mean you must have debts tomorrow. The fact that you struggled yesterday does not mean you must struggle today. But if you wake up each morning rehearsing your problems, your mind accepts those problems as permanent conditions and stops searching for solutions. Your aura becomes the aura of a struggling man, and struggling men do not attract wealth. They attract more struggle. He asked me what he should do. I gave him one instruction. Train your mind the way you would train a wild horse. Every morning, before his feet touched the floor, he must spend 15 minutes thinking only of his definite chief aim, not his problems, not his fears, only the clear picture of what he intended to create. He must see himself as already successful. He must feel the satisfaction of achievement before he achieved. He must saturate his mind with belief until doubt had no room to exist. This was not fantasy. This was the deliberate construction of the mental frequency that wealth responds to. Within 6 months, this man's business transformed. Not because the market changed, not because he suddenly learned new techniques, because he changed the signal he was broadcasting. When he entered a room, people felt confidence. When he spoke, his words carried conviction. When he made decisions, he moved with the certainty of a man who knew success was inevitable. Opportunities that had passed him by for years suddenly appeared. Customers who had ignored him became interested. The same man in the same city with the same skills but radiating a completely different frequency. Your dominant thoughts are forming your aura at this very moment. If you think thoughts of scarcity, you radiate scarcity. If you think thoughts of abundance, you radiate abundance. If you think thoughts of fear, you push away the very things you seek. If you think thoughts of faith, you draw toward you the people, circumstances, and opportunities that match faith. This is not theory. This is observable fact. Pay attention to how you feel when you are around someone who constantly complains, who sees obstacles in every opportunity, who predicts failure before attempting success. You feel drained. You want to leave their presence. Now think of how you feel around someone who radiates enthusiasm, who sees possibility in every challenge, who moves forward with quiet confidence. You feel energized. You want to be near them. That is the power of the aura at work. But training your aura begins with one non-negotiable foundation. You must have a definite chief aim, not a wish, not a vague hope, a burning, all-consuming purpose that occupies your thoughts, morning, noon, and night. Most men drift through life like leaves blown by wind. They want wealth, but have no specific plan. They desire success, but cannot define what success means to them. They hope for better circumstances, but do nothing definite to create those circumstances. A drifting mind creates a drifting aura, and a drifting aura attracts nothing of value. Henry Ford knew exactly what he wanted. One automobile, affordable enough for the common man, produced in quantities that would revolutionize American life. That thought consumed him. He spoke of it. He dreamed of it. He organized every action around it. When people told him it was impossible, their doubt could not penetrate the field of certainty he had built around himself. His aura radiated definiteness of purpose so strongly that men with money felt compelled to back him, even when logic said they should not. Money flows toward definiteness the way water flows downhill. It cannot help itself. Before I continue, answer one question honestly. When you think about wealth, do you see yourself possessing it, or do you see yourself chasing it? If you are still listening, something inside you is waking up. The difference between those two states is the difference between magnetism and repulsion. A man who sees himself chasing wealth radiates desperation. A man who sees himself possessing wealth radiates certainty. Desperation repels. Certainty attracts. You cannot fake this. Your subconscious mind knows the truth of what you believe, and it broadcasts that truth whether you want it to or not. If deep down you believe wealth belongs to other people but not to you, every person you meet will sense that belief. If deep down you know with absolute conviction that prosperity is your natural state, people will feel that too. This is why affirmations without emotion are worthless. This is why positive thinking without burning desire produces nothing. You cannot simply repeat words and expect your aura to change. You must feel the reality of your success before it manifests. You must build such an intense emotional connection to your definite aim that your entire being vibrates with it. When Edison's laboratory burned down, destroying years of work, his son found him watching the flames. His son expected to see defeat. Instead, Edison said, "Go get your mother. She will never see a fire like this again." The next morning, Edison said, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Now we can start fresh." That is the aura of a man who cannot be defeated. That frequency attracts solutions, opportunities, and people who can help. The men who succeed do not wait for perfect conditions. They do not postpone action until fear disappears. They move forward while still afraid, and in the moving forward, their aura shifts from one of hesitation to one of momentum. Action changes everything. The man who decides and acts radiates power. The man who thinks and waits radiates weakness. You can feel this difference without anyone speaking a word. Walk into any business and you can identify within minutes who has decision, who acts on their plans, who moves with definite purpose. These are the people who advance. These are the people opportunities seek out. Decision alone is not enough. You must couple decision with persistence. Your aura is not built in a day. It is built through the consistent application of thought, feeling, and action toward your definite aim. Every time you persist when others quit, your aura strengthens. Every time you act with faith when circumstances suggest fear, your magnetic field intensifies. Every time you refuse to accept temporary defeat as permanent failure, you broadcast to the world that you are a person who cannot be stopped. I watched a young man in Detroit lose everything in the financial panic. His business collapsed. His savings evaporated. His family urged him to take a factory job, to accept security over ambition. He refused, not because he was foolish, not because he did not feel the pressure, but because he had burned into his mind a clear picture of the business he intended to build. Every morning he reviewed that picture. Every night he fell asleep thinking of it. He took a small job to pay bills, but in every spare moment he planned, prepared, and persisted toward his aim. People who met him did not see a defeated man working a small job. They saw a man moving toward something definite. Within 3 years, he had built a business larger than the one he lost. The disaster that destroyed his first attempt could not destroy his aura. He continued to radiate the frequency of success even when surrounded by failure. That is the secret most men miss. They allow circumstances to dictate their frequency. When times are good, they radiate confidence. When times are difficult, they radiate doubt. But wealth does not come to the man who changes his frequency based on conditions. Wealth comes to the man who maintains his frequency regardless of conditions. You must decide what signal you will broadcast, and then broadcast it without wavering, whether the world agrees with you or laughs at you, whether people support you or oppose you, whether evidence appears quickly or takes years to manifest. Your thoughts are energy. That energy forms a field around you. That field attracts matching energy. Think thoughts of poverty and you attract the circumstances of poverty. Think thoughts of wealth and you attract the circumstances of wealth. This is not magic. This is natural law as reliable as gravity. But unlike gravity, which acts upon you whether you understand it or not, this law requires your conscious participation. You must deliberately choose your thoughts. You must refuse to entertain the thoughts of limitation that your environment tries to force upon you. Walk down any street and listen to conversations. Men talk about hard times, high prices, unfair bosses, unlucky breaks, limited opportunities. They rehearse their problems with the passion most men should reserve for their purposes. Then they wonder why their problems grow. You are not required to think those thoughts. You are not required to accept those beliefs. You can walk through a world of complainers and maintain your own frequency. You can be surrounded by defeat and radiate victory. But you must consciously guard your mind the way a military officer guards a strategic position. Every negative thought that enters is an enemy trying to destroy your aura. You must reject it immediately and replace it with a thought that serves your purpose. Andrew Carnegie understood this principle completely. He trained himself to see opportunity in every situation. When steel prices dropped and competitors panicked, Carnegie expanded. When labor troubles arose and others predicted disaster, Carnegie negotiated solutions. His mind was so disciplined to seek advantage that his aura radiated optimism even in difficult times. Men wanted to invest with him because they felt his confidence. They sensed he would find a way to succeed when others found reasons to fail. That quality is not inborn. Carnegie built it through daily mental discipline, through refusing to dwell on problems, through training his mind to focus only on solutions and possibilities. You think it, you feel it, you act on it, you become it. That is the sequence of transformation. Most men stop after thinking. They think about wealth but feel doubt, or they think and feel but never act, or they act once and quit when results do not appear immediately. The man who trains his aura completes the entire cycle. He thinks wealth with absolute definiteness. He feels wealth with burning desire. He acts on wealth with persistent faith. He becomes wealth because his entire being radiates the frequency of prosperity. This is not comfortable. Training your aura requires you to think differently than everyone around you. It requires you to maintain faith when circumstances scream doubt. It requires you to persist when logic suggests quitting. It requires you to act with confidence when you do not yet have evidence that your confidence is justified. Most men cannot do this. Most men need certainty before they act. But certainty is the result of right action, not the cause of it. You must act first. The certainty comes after. There was a time in my own life when I had nothing but a burning desire and a definite purpose. I had no money, I had no connections, I had no proof that my ideas would work, but I had trained my mind to dwell only on the outcome I intended to create. I refused to consider failure. I refused to entertain doubt. I refused to entertain doubt. I refused to let circumstances dictate my thought. And as I maintained that frequency day after day, month after month, the people I needed appeared. The opportunities I required opened. The resources I lacked materialized. Not through luck, not through accident. Through the natural operation of the law that states what you hold in your mind with. Faith and persistence must manifest in reality. But here is what most men refuse to accept. The waiting period tests your frequency. The delay between thought and manifestation reveals whether your faith is real or pretended. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You water it. You protect it from weeds. You trust the process. The same is true of your definite aim. You cannot check for results every morning and despair when you do not see instant evidence of success. That desperation changes your frequency. That doubt broadcasts a signal that pushes wealth away. You must act with the calm certainty of a farmer who knows the seed will grow because he understands the law, not because he sees the sprout. Every adversity carries the seed of an equal or greater benefit. That is not optimistic philosophy. That is practical fact. But only the man who maintains his frequency during adversity can find that seed. The man who allows difficulty to change his thoughts from confidence to fear, from faith to doubt, from persistence to quitting, that man loses his magnetic power. His aura becomes the aura of a victim. And victims do not attract wealth. They attract more circumstances to feel victimized by. Look at the men who built great fortunes during the Depression. While millions despaired, these men saw opportunity. While others broadcast fear, these men saw opportunity. While others broadcast fear, confidence. While competitors closed their doors, these men expanded. Same economic conditions, different frequencies. The conditions did not determine their results. Their frequencies determined what they saw in the conditions. A man who radiates defeat sees only problem. A man who radiates victory sees solutions waiting to be claimed. You are radiating right now. You have been radiating since you woke up this morning. You will continue radiating until you sleep tonight. The question is not whether you have an aura. The question is what frequency that aura broadcasts. If you are attracting poverty, criticism, limitation, and struggle, examine your dominant thoughts. If you are attracting opportunity, support, resources, and advancement, examine your dominant thoughts. Your results are a mirror of what you radiate. You cannot lie to the mirror. It shows exactly what it sees. So you must rebuild yourself from the inside out. You must select one definite aim and write it in clear language. You must read it every morning and every night. You must think of it constantly until it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. You must feel it with such burning desire that doubt cannot survive in your mind. You must act on it with such persistence that temporary defeat means nothing to you. And you must maintain this frequency not for days or weeks, but for as long as it takes. Most men quit 3 feet from goal. They persist for a while. They work toward their aim. But when results do not appear on their schedule, they abandon their purpose and move to something else. Then they wonder why they never succeed. They never succeed because they never maintain one frequency long enough for it to attract what they seek. They are like a radio dial, constantly turning, never staying on one station long enough to hear the music. You must tune to your frequency and stay there. Lock it in. Refuse to change it, no matter what happens around you. The man who does this becomes unstoppable, not because he has more talent than others, not because he has better circumstances than others, but because he has trained his mind, his emotions, and his actions to broadcast one unwavering signal, and that signal draws to him everything he needs to succeed. Money comes to him. People come to him. Ideas come to him. Opportunities come to him. All because he radiates the frequency that success responds to. You do not need special permission to train your aura. You do not need anyone's approval to think differently than the crowd. You do not need perfect conditions to begin. You need only one thing, the decision to take control of your mind and direct it toward a definite purpose with unwavering faith. Everything else follows from that decision. The decision changes your thoughts. Your thoughts change your emotions. Your emotions change your actions. Your actions change your results. Your results prove that the law works. But you must make the decision now, not tomorrow, not when conditions improve, not when you feel more confident. Now, because every day you wait is another day you broadcast the wrong frequency. Every day you postpone is another day you attract more of what you do not want. Every day you hesitate is another day. Wealth passes you by looking for someone who is ready to receive it. Wealth is not hiding from you. It is not being kept from you by external forces. It is waiting for you to become the person who radiates the frequency that wealth recognizes. The moment you become that person, wealth moves toward you as naturally as iron moves toward a magnet. But you must do the work. You must train your mind. You must discipline your thoughts. You must refuse to let circumstances or people or temporary defeats change your frequency. You must persist with the quiet certainty of a man who knows the law always works for those who apply it correctly. This is your moment. Right now, as you hear these words, you have the power to decide what you irradiate from this moment forward. Will you continue broadcasting the frequency of limitation, or will you begin broadcasting the frequency of abundance? Will you continue thinking thoughts that repel wealth, or will you train your mind to think thoughts that attract? Will you remain the person who chases opportunity, or will you become the person opportunity chases? The choice has always been yours. The power has always been within you. The law has always been waiting for you to use it. Now you know. Now you understand. Now you understand. Now you cannot claim ignorance. You can only choose, and in that choice you determine everything that follows. You are the broadcaster. Wealth is the signal you can attract or repel. Train your frequency. Maintain your frequency. Become your frequency. Become your frequency. Become your frequency. That is how you master the invisible force that determines whether you live in poverty or prosperity, whether you struggle or succeed, whether you spend your life wanting or having. Everything you need is already seeking you. You need only become worthy of finding it by radiating the frequency that makes you recognizable to it. If what you heard today resonated with something deep inside you, share this message with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more wisdom on the principles that govern success, subscribe so you never miss an insight that could change your life. But most importantly, start training your aura today. Right now, this moment. Because every second you wait is a second you broadcast the old frequency. It is time to broadcast the new one.